In a world where we have everything and it's still not enough, we're often left wondering, is this really it?
Deep inside, you know there's more to life. You're ready to leave behind the old push your way through and claim the deeper, more meaningful life that's calling you.
That's what we invite you to explore with us.
We're your hosts,
Stephanie Allen
and Maren and this is the Soulful Leader Podcast.
Yay! Hi, welcome to the Soulful Leader Podcast. This is Stephanie, and I'm here with Maren. And today we're talking a little bit about not just the why we do what we do, but what does it take inside ourselves to really show up and serve another being from a place of not too much, not too little. It's kind of like the Goldilocks thing, but just right. And what even does that mean? Because we're so used to the outer world being transactional, like I'm giving you something and I want something in return, or we have different sets of here's the next step on how to sell something or how to get something, or, oh, don't forget to take care of yourself while you're doing this. There seems to be so many things to balance out or to come into harmonize. And what we're going to present today is a little different way of transcending and including all of those.
So I think of it as a different way of marketing, essentially. Like when I think of the traditional, what we're taught about marketing, I just attended a seminar and I was surprised at hearing the same thing that I've been hearing for 20 years. This is how you market yourself. And I think that I was surprised because you and I do it differently. And there is value in the old way of doing it, of, be authentic. Yes, absolutely be authentic. But what does that mean?
What does it mean? When someone says you're not being authentic, Stephanie, or you're not being authentic, Maren, what on earth does that mean?
Right. And so getting into those things instead of just, writing down your strengths and weaknesses, which is important. We talk about that. Mm-hmm. Create a product that serves. Okay. What does that mean? And how are you going to show up to that? Because to me, that's where the real marketing happens, is how I choose to show up to my authentic self, to the offer that I have on the table, to the people that I'm serving, to my community, to all of that is what really I see as the difference in the way that, the incoming wave from the future of how marketing could be versus all the things we're taught to check the box of like, oh, I did this, I did that, I did the other thing, and now I'm going to sell.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm kind of relating this in the way of even in relationships, we become people pleasers at, sacrificing ourselves. Why do we sacrifice ourselves? Well, a couple reasons. One, either we don't know what we want and we make other people more important than because we haven't really looked inside to say, well, who am I? Why am I here? What is it that I'm bringing to this world? Do I even know? And why am I here? Like the existential question, but even the present question, like, why am I in this relationship? Why am I in this job? Why? What is it that's holding me accountable to this, whatever this is, this moment in time, this place, this relationship, this place of living? I don't think we go deep enough to go, is it something that I feel I'm called to do? Or is it something I feel like I'm obligated to do? Like I have to do this. And so when I say that people pleasing, it's like, well, if I don't people please, then I'm going to be abandoned, or I'm going to be judged. I'm going to be, neglected, whatever it is. So we either overdo. There's the Goldilocks, or not Goldilocks, Cinderella. Yeah, Goldilocks. I don't know my fairy tales. Goldilocks. That's the Goldilocks kind of mentality. It's like it's too much, or is it too little? We hold back because we're not sure. So instead of people pleasing, we hold back of who we really are because we're not sure of who we really are, and we're afraid to even be, when we say authentic, to really show our vulnerability, our our true self in the way of like, this is what I'm really feeling. Whether it's right or wrong or good or bad, I just really feel this way and I don't know what to do with it. That's the humility.
So from a business perspective, looking, or even from a leadership perspective, right? So it may be, you're a coach leader, you're whatever. From a leadership perspective, what I'm hearing is that like when we're working, relationships are the basis of marketing, of sales, of our communities, of the teams that we have, whatever it is. And so often that outer, like you were talking about, we hold back because there's a fear. And so we either give too much, like me, buy my thing. Or we don't give enough of, I don't believe in myself. So I'm going to hold back a little bit and test you to see if you like me enough to do it, to join the team, to, be my partner, to do whatever it is. Right. And when you're talking about the Goldilocks is like that place that's in between, that size that fits just right it comes from knowing ourselves well enough to say, I'm good. I'm good. How can I be of service to you? I don't need your business. I would love your business. I don't need you on the team. I would love you on the team. I'm good. I don't.
Yeah. And that's where the codependency thing comes in, because you get codependency in leadership. Totally. Like people are leaders because they want attention. They want power. They want control. Yeah, that's actually a codependency thing. That's an actual thing of like, I have to get something outside myself because I don't know how to access it from within. I don't know how to connect internally to a sense of love and peace and joy and abundance inside myself. So I'm going to try to take it from something else or give something in order to get something transactional. I give you this, you give me that, and it's just tit for tat all the time. And it's exhausting. Versus, going to that deeper why of like, so why do I do what I do? Well, I believe in it. Well, tell me more about why you believe in it. Well, I love it too, because it's changed my life or it's helped. Well, tell me more. And so when you get into that enthusiasm, because I was just at a workshop myself and the person that was giving the talk was a really great person and was really excited about something that I also do, but he didn't give us any grounded context behind it. He just kind of let us go and explore or whatever. And I was really having to work with myself going, oh my gosh, there's so much more here. And at the same time, listening to the group that I was in, they would not have been able to receive what I have from 30 years. So I was just paying attention to going, well, where are they at? What are they needing? And I think that's what we forget. It's like, we don't learn how to connect with another person's deep need because we haven't connected with our own deep need. Like I said, we haven't gone in to, find that internal power, that internal connection, that love, that source. So how can we help another find theirs? We can't. I use the old, saying of like, if you need $10 from me and I do not have $10, no matter how much I care about you, I cannot give you $10 because I don't have it. So if I can learn how to find life force within myself, then I can help you access your life force from within without even actually doing anything. Simply by just being in your presence and listening and allowing you to self-reflect inside yourself and point directions about what might be happening for you.
So I love that as a theory, right? It's like, oh, that's great.
Right. And what does that mean?
Both, what does it mean? And also, what's a practical application of that? Because one of the things about, marketing from 20 years ago of, the things that you and I learned that we applied and we checked the boxes, right? It was very practical. Like, know who you are, know what you offer, make sure that your offer is something that that somebody wants, do your market research. They're all things that you can do in the outer world and check the box and then see a direct correlation.
Yeah. And I think they're a great beginning. Like it's a great start of learning how to both know who you are and what you're serving, and also learning how to listen to the people that you want to serve. I think it's such a great beginning. But then what happens when it stops working?
Right.
Like you've done it all, but it's not working anymore. And it's like, why is this not working?
Well, I think one of the things you just said is actually a key to the practicality of it, is the listening to the people that you serve. And I know one of the things that I had been taught was you want to do your market research, which is essentially listening to the people that you want to serve. The challenge that I always had with that was then you're supposed to create a product that serves those people. No one talks about, or at least at the time, no one was talking about, how is that in alignment with why I'm here?
Now you're just codependently trying to help other people so that you can sell the product and feel good about yourself.
Right. So now I can, it's like, why am I selling the product? Just to make money? Just to serve them? Because now I'm not in my own body. I'm doing it from that like me place. I'm good enough because I've given you what you need. And where we started this was, it's all about relationship.
It is. And the why and what you care about, which is kind of the why. I'm going to relate this to volunteerism as well in the leadership in the community, because I know right now, whether it's a community center or service clubs or churches or anything that's in service, they are so needing volunteers. And it's like that old adage of like, well, what's in it for me? Why should I volunteer? Because what's in it for me? And the whole point of volunteering, people, is that you have so much within you, it's overflowing, and you want to give back. You want to share. You want to, you care. You care about the possibility of what could happen. But you're not super uber responsible for it. It's like you're also in a surrender mode of like, okay, well, what wants to happen and what is required of me in order to be in service? I need to listen to what the people are saying. And I'm going to have to surrender my agenda also in order to be in service. So, as an example, I volunteer at a local YMCA, and for years, I used to be the volunteer coordinator, and I would hear people say this to me all the time. Now, this is like 30 years ago. It's like, well, what's in it for me? I'm giving an hour or 2 hours a week to do fitness, and what's in it for me? Well, I want a free membership, and I want to be recognized, and absolutely, those are great things. Those are great things. But here's what's funny, is because I could totally relate to that. And I totally stood for that. I'm like, you're right. You give a lot. Da, da, da. I have been a volunteer now for almost 25 years. I tell you, I'm like, it has shifted internally in me. It's like, it's in me to give. It's kind of like that old, give blood. It's in you to give. Our reason for being is in us to give. It is. And so when we can start to understand that we have an infinite potential within ourselves, and that who are you when you're done with this bodysuit, with this life? What kind of legacy do you want to leave? Nobody cares about money and stuff anymore. They really don't. If you talk to like the, generation, XYZ, ABCs, you talk to any of that, they're just not into it anymore. They're just like, yeah, whatever, right? They're longing for something deeper. And I think that they're teaching us something. They really are teachers. Because, now as I'm volunteering, it's like, I get so much back without even asking for it. And I think that's the gift, because I'm showing up because I'm expecting nothing back. I am totally there because I care. And there's that old saying of, people don't care what you know until they know that you care. And to me, that's an internal practice. I need to keep practicing. What do I care about? Why do I care about it? Why do I care about that person? Why do I care about, that tree, that park, that whatever? Why do I care? What does it mean? And if it was gone, what does that mean? Like, why do I care? And what has to change within me? Not to try to control it or fix it or manipulate it, but what has to change within me to also detach from it? And that is a hard practice.
You shared, and I love that you use that is a practice, because so often we think that it's like, oh, okay, I know what I stand for. And
It's a one and done.
It's a done thing. It's as if it's not evolving as we evolve.
100%.
You shared something with me this morning, and I posted it on our Soulful Leader Facebook group. It says, bad marketing values promotions. And this is from Simon Sinek. Good marketing promotes values. And I think about that from what you were just talking about, of like, what are the values behind your business, behind you as a person? We had Vicki Keith on recently, and phenomenal episode. If you haven't listened to that, I think it's episode 150. She is such an inspiring woman. And she talked about working with values with her kids, and like people not knowing what that means. And you've mentioned that too, of like with your clients of, I need to go look up what a value is.
I don't even know what a value is. What is a value?
What is a value? So there's some great downloads. You know, I after that episode, somebody actually asked me, because Vicki Keith mentions the fact that she provides a list to the kids so that they can actually look through and go, which of these feels in alignment with me? Because just coming up with them can be hard. So I went and I looked, and Brene Brown has got a beautiful list of values for leaders. And the values that we hold, when we can actually stand in those values, it allows us to listen more closely, clearer, more attentively, and be present to the people around us, whether they are our team members or our clients or potential clients. I was just recently at an event where they provided these headshots, and the photographer that was there was not interested. She wanted to promote and didn't value what she was doing, and she just wasn't invested. So she did it kind of in this remote way. And then she had all the checkbox of things of like, well, I'm giving away a $400 certificate to a session with me, and here's all the things that I do, which was great until she actually showed up and took the picture, and she did not give a crap about me or what I was looking for, or
and I think what you're saying too is also connecting. Yeah, because when you know your values and you can connect with somebody else's, even if they don't know their values, but if you can connect and pull out someone's essence of what they value, then you have a foundation of which you can build a relationship and trust on. And then service becomes so much easier.
And I want to relate it back to the volunteering thing that you talked about, of like, when you're volunteering and you're giving and you're getting so much back, you feel like you could do it forever. When we get to that place in our own selves, in our businesses, when we're doing our business from a place of, I am so connected to my values, to my why that I'm here, to my bigger purpose, then I can do it forever. It energizes me. I'm not looking for the payout so I can go sit on a beach and do nothing. That sounds like a nightmare to me.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up, because I have a client who kind of is living that nightmare. And he recently said to me, he goes, he lost his wife and daughter here in the last 5 years. And he's like, I sacrificed all the years my daughter grew up working to make money so that we could have a retirement. And he goes, damn it, I'm pissed basically at my wife for dying. And because we had all of these dreams planned, and she left me, she died. And he said, and then I feel really awful that I'm feeling bad about that. He said, but I have all this money, but I'm not happy. And I said, yeah. And he had so much pain in his body because he was carrying it, carrying that grief, carrying that pain. And I said, do you know what you value? Because he kept saying he valued money and he valued money. And I'm like, is that true? Because what I'm hearing is that you valued relationship.
Yeah.
And you're beating yourself up for making money value more than the relationship value. And he's a very hard, he was a salesperson. He's very hard business. And I could see the tears coming welling up. And he challenges me a lot. So he got home and he texted me. He's like, okay, so what did we talk about today? Can you tell me what the values are? And so this is actually what I wrote back to him. I said, list your top 10 values. This is a great exercise. List your top 10 values. And I said, after each value, write, why is this value important to me? Like, what does it mean to me? Why do I value this value? Because you may uncover that some of those values are values that you have been told to value or genetically inherited that you should value those, but they're not truly, talk about authenticity, not truly your values. And there's no right or wrong value. It's just to know what your values are so that you can live true to them. And then I said, so the third thing, so, you find why they're important, what they mean to you. And then where am I living this value now? And then I said, internally, your thoughts, your beliefs, your attitudes, what do you need to let go of in order so that you could just totally be free? Because a lot of times people will say, I'm unhappy. And I'll say, it's often because you're not putting one of your values as a priority. When you can put your priorities as a priority, it moves you. But this is a constant thing that is changing, And there is no right or wrong answer to any of these questions. But they're meant, I say that, they're meant to be contemplated and that they will grow and change as you grow and evolve and change. But to continue, they'll deepen and deepen. And I say it's not a pass or fail test kind of thing. This is something that is just like something that is a daily contemplation of like, what is it? Not a to-do list, not an outer thing. It's like, what do I value? And am I showing up to that value, or am I making somebody else's value more important? Have I questioned what my value is as to why it is? And it's an ongoing practice.
Yeah, because once you know that, then it's so easy to align with other people. I was recently talking to a client and she said that she was at an event where they were talking about like wanting to make the comment was wanting to make multiple commas. We talk about the six figures and then it's beyond that, the multiple commas. And I said, well, why did they want that? And she said, well, so that they could sit on a beach and have a certain car and do this. And I very clearly said, well, they're not my clients. Maybe they're yours. And she's like, no, I don't think that they are. So knowing your values, it's like my client is the person who wants to make a difference in the world, not sit back and take it easy. And there's no right or wrong. It just is knowing there's so many people out there and everybody's in a different place. So if I know my values, then I can very clearly say, I don't need to go to that place. I don't need to talk to those people. I don't need to, it's like, there's somebody else that's a better teacher for those people than I am, because we won't connect. We won't relate, talk about relationship. Right. So my client, I said, there's a reason she's my client. She wants to make a difference in the world.
Yeah.
And yes, you can do that and make money. It just
100%.
is understanding that, okay, I want to make multiple commas or six figures or even $20 this week because I want to make a difference, because I want to, not because I want to check out. And that's just like, like going to what are my values? And how do I find the people that are aligned with those? You don't even need to know how to find the people who align with them. When
you'll just attract to them.
Yeah.
You'll just attract them. People
You'll be
will refer them to
tripping over them.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Exactly.
I've totally seen that. And, I might even ask the individual who says, hey, look, I want to make multiple commas so I can sit on the beach and enjoy my life. And I might even ask another question. So that what would that mean? To go even deeper, because sometimes that still stays on the surface and they could be so stressed that they're like, I've come from a life of lack. I've come from a genetic line of lack. I just want to feel like I'm safe. I want to feel like I can rest. And it's like, what if there was another way to do that than making multiple commas and sitting on a beach? And I think it's having a different, and again, and not making it right or wrong or good or bad, but just staying in the inquiry, asking more questions, because I have, just like that man I said, when he said he values money, but yet when I said, well, what I'm really hearing though, is that you valued your wife and your daughter and they're not here anymore. And it's causing you pain. And it broke, it makes me cry too.
Yeah.
It makes me cry in that way of like, I think sometimes we're like, again, we get kind of drinking the Kool-Aid that, yeah, we're supposed to make multiple commas.
I think that's very much, it's like what you said of we take on other people's values because that's what we're taught. We're taught that we're supposed to want to make six figures and charge $10,000 for a program and do this and that's the right way. And we just swallow it. And really it's about knowing who we are. And where do I want to go? And what is six figures enough? Maybe I need multiple commas. So that what?
Yeah.
And what I found is oftentimes those people who end up on the beach, they're there for, 6 months and then they're like, I'm bored stiff.
And I have often seen that. Those are usually the ones that come to me. They say, oh, I've got cancer. I said, well, I guess you have a mission now, don't you? You have something to work towards and changing. And why I'm saying that is that I am not ditching that anyone who, God love them, who goes through a serious disease or a loss. Sometimes that is the very impetus to actually help you find your latent potential and your gifts. It helps you look within and go, oh my gosh, there's more I have to give. And so it is a very hard path, and I honor and bow to any of you that may be suffering in that. And there is another way than trauma and drama to wake up, to find those gifts and strengths. And I think that's what we're really saying here, Maren, is that if we can start to look underneath the surface to find that deeper connection of who am I, why am I here, what am I called to do, and who am I called to become, and not trying to figure it out and having a once and done answer, but to be in the question, to be on the quest for that with love. That's when things start to change. That's where inspiration and joy, and that's where wonder and delight start to pop in. You're like, oh my gosh, look at this, it's coming to me, instead of having the trauma and drama. And I think our world has had enough trauma and drama, and maybe it hasn't. Maybe the trauma and drama is what's happening right now in the world, so that we can wake up and care more for what we may not have someday. I mean, there's so many things that we've lost, even pre-pandemic, so many things, rights and things we've lost. And it's like the old saying, you don't know what you've got till it's gone. I don't want to wait to that. And I don't want to hang on tight to what I already have either. I don't want to be in anxiety and fear with that either. But I want to have gratitude. But I know the only way to do that is to keep going deeper and deeper inside myself, so that, God forbid, if something does go, then I have a safe place to land inside myself. And I have a community of people who can hold me and have my back and be with me in my grief or my anger or my suffering, so that I can be illuminated to walk into a new way of being a soulful leader.
I think a beautiful place to start that whole journey is the values exercise that you gave us earlier. So I will link that. I'll ask Stephanie to type that up for us, and I will put a link to that in the show notes. So you can go to the soulfulleaderpodcast.com to get to the show notes for today's episode. I'll also put a link to Brene Brown's list of values, so that if you're like a lot of us and are not sure what a value is, you can actually have a cheat sheet and be like, oh, and see what resonates for you. And then go through the exercise that Stephanie, peel the layers. You're a treasure, and we're buried under all of this crap, and start peeling the layers to get to the treasure that's within you. So thank you for joining us. You can find me and Stephanie at The Soulful Leaders, at Soulful Leaders, I should say, on Facebook and on LinkedIn. You can also find us at tslp.life. That stands for the Soulful Leader Project.life, because we're all about life. And we look forward to seeing you all next week on the Soulful Leader Podcast.
And that wraps up another episode of the Soulful Leader Podcast with your hosts, Stephanie Allen
and Maren Oslack. Thank you for listening. If you'd like to dive deeper, head over to our website at thesoulfulleaderpodcast.com.
Until next time.